Testing, testing, testing sound. 1, 2, 3, we are good with the sound. Hello and welcome. May peace and blessings be upon you. I'm fed up with Muslim YouTube, and in previous videos I've probably shared how, as a revert in the UK, I got rejected from Muslims because of my French accent, my Polish parents, and how after 10 years I've realized that, well, there's no community for me. So this video is a bit different from what I usually do. I don't usually vlog. You will see it's very much unedited, very raw and very personal. It's because I want to see what is the capacity of YouTube as a community space, this to say, to not only help me in this journey, but to provide feedback and to see where we can go from there. And, you know, if I'm the only one thinking these kind of things out there, there's more people. As a new Muslim, I would be looking at YouTube for advice, for support, for inspiration, for hope. But well, what I've realized is that most of the things you see online is just plain garbage. So you have self-interested influencers who are trying to sell you their makeup line, their clothing line, or their online course. I've seen converts making money out of their conversion to Islam and being offered trips fully paid to Turkey, Egypt, Saudi, Pakistan, get their Umrah fully sponsored. While you've got like people around me who I know who've been Muslim who have no money and would like do anything for having a sponsored Umrah, but they don't tick the right boxes. I've seen reverts after 1 week after the Shahada, they offer these like £500 an hour one-to-one coaching session about Islam. And I just feel when I look at that, it's just, is YouTube full of just greedy people? Am I the only one doing things for free because I believe everyone should have access to knowledge? Or maybe am I being stupid for not making money out of my conversion to Islam? I don't know. And then the rest is very reactionary, to say the least. It's very much, you're wrong and I'm right. You tweeted this and I tweeted that. And there's like, we're supposed to talk about problems, but it's like we are creating more problems. Where are the solutions? All these people who say they do dawah, when I watch these videos, it doesn't make me feel like I want to be Muslim. I don't want to be part of it. It's because instead of saying takbir, all they say is takfir. I'm actually proud of this one. My French audience will understand and probably find it funny. And it's been more than 10 years, I see all the same things. You know, Me Too happens. Oh, Muslim women are creating fitna. They're trying to impose their feminist agenda. Then, a few years later, Black Lives Matter happened. Oh, British black Muslims, they're creating fitna. They're trying to impose their racist agenda. And now it's LGBTQ. They're trying to impose our values and so on and repeat same arguments. I grew up in a family that didn't like Muslims and migrants. And what my parents would say, just like the far right in France and everywhere else in the world, they're trying to impose their values. They are trying to divide people. It's been the same thing since the 1980s. And I embraced Islam because I was sick of hearing people saying these kind of things. But now I am hearing the very same things my parents and the far right did. It's a space which is also very full of contradictions. I don't know if you remember shortly after 9/11 and 7/7, the thing is, Islamophobes would attack Islam and Muslims, saying that, Islam is a religion that oppresses women. And then all of a sudden you would have everyone coming and saying that, no, look, Arabs before Islam used to bury their daughters. And what Islam did is that it allowed women not only the right to live, but also the right to education, to inherit property, the right to choose their husbands, the right to run their own businesses and make a career, like Khadija, the wife of the Prophet. And now fast forward 20 years later, it's like almost if everyone is saying that, oh no, now Islam, wants women to stay at home, don't have a career, just raise your kids and don't have education because it will corrupt women. It's and the same people's like, what happened? Why would the same people have also all of a sudden switched their discourse? I don't understand. I was hoping to find on the internet people showing the beauty of God, the beauty of Islam, the beauty of what a harmonious lifestyle mean. But instead, I see either a giant marketplace where Allah has become a brand, and instead of 1.2 billion of believers, we have 1.2 billion of consumers. And it's a space which has also become a ring, like an octagon where people just like, fight with each other. And I just wonder, why does nobody offer solutions, or why does no one want to hear about people who have solutions to offer? Because it's been the topic of my research for the past now 15 years. I've written books about it. Other people have written books about it. Lots of Muslim academics out there. But just it's like nobody wants to hear it, and I don't understand why. If people have a problem with what is taught at school, it's nothing new. It's people have been teaching things that are contrary to Islamic values forever, and sometimes distorting facts and history. Just think about the history of colonialism. I grew up in France, and I was taught that French people are the best because they invented democracy and human rights, for example. But why don't you teach then your kids critical thinking? Why don't you equip your kids with tools to differentiate what's true and what's not? And every day I connect into YouTube and I ask myself, what are the next steps? And what I see is the next step is Muslim versus atheist, episode 42, Shia versus Sunni, episode 23. Now it's like, Sunni versus Sunni, Imam versus Imam. I've seen people asking makeup artists for religious advice. It's like the scholars have no power anymore. People don't trust them for knowledge. It's either everyone is making money for themselves or having beef with each other. And this while there is a multi-million-dollar Islamophobia industry at work since 2001, and which must be laughing at what they see on YouTube, because this is what they were aiming for. You've got official US government papers mentioning that they have succeeded. Their goal was to divide Muslims and entertain them, so they will be so busy fighting with each other or making money that they will be too weak to organize and fight back. And this is where we are now. I understand that because of the pressure from government and history, people have very low self-esteem, very low self-confidence, and don't necessarily have the tools to, fight back. But there is such a disinterest for the production of knowledge and the production of culture that I wonder, are we stuck in a cycle of doom with no way out? Because I've met in my personal life and in my professional life Muslims who are like brilliant academics, brilliant cultural producer, brilliant community organizers, but for some reason they always stay in the shadow, because of course mainstream media will never talk about them. But also, why as a community we're more interested in Lamborghinis, Wagyu beef, makeup, hijab, and just reacting and fighting each other? I understand that some people rely on social media to make an income, but the problem is they are becoming trapped with the attention economy. Because if you want to earn as a short story, you need to grab people's attention. You need to be shocking. You need to be controversial. You need to simplify knowledge to a point where sometimes it doesn't make sense at all. And everyone wants to be a leader, but at the end of the day, because social media is this illusion that, we are free to become whoever we want, but at the end of the day, everyone is doing the same thing and everyone is becoming sheep. So my question is, when do we break our chains from the attention economy, and how? When do we start talking about, okay, we've got a problem with X, Y, Z, so these should be the steps 1, 2, and 3, and so on. But because I feel that I have an amana and I have a responsibility, these are the steps I'm going to take personally. And this is just for information. I don't know if it's right or wrong. I mean, it's just, experimenting. I want to experiment with a new type of reaction videos where instead of just reacting, I'll be providing an analysis based on my knowledge and the work I've done so far. Instead of saying, I like it, I don't like it, this is good and bad, I'll just say, if we see that, it's going to mean X, Y, and Z. This is because this and this and this. I want also to interview people who usually are not given a platform. And I was mentioning all these academics, these artists and community organizers that are doing work behind the scenes in the shadows. And if no one wants to bring them to the spotlight, then who's going to do it? And third, as interviews as well, I want to have interviews with people with whom I may have very divergent or opposing opinions, but for me to understand them, because this is what I do as a job in real life. I interview people, trying to understand them and analyze the trends that are forming as a sociologist. And I don't want to interview people and to have, prove them wrong or right. I just want to understand their life journey, because there's a lot to be learned from someone who has a completely different perspective on life than yourself. Because either it's going to make you understand how these people think, but also it might comfort you and build your personality and, affirm your values. So this is a very formative exercise that I've been doing for more than 15 years. And I was thinking of bringing this on the public scene to show you how it looks like to interview people for a sociological interview, and what is the etiquette of interviewing people in a non-judgmental manner, but just for the sake of understanding. Because there's not many channels who do that, I'm aware, and knowledge, at university is not accessible. Not everyone has the time to read books, to read articles, and I want to divert power from the ivory tower, which means I want to bring discussions about knowledge here on a public platform where people might not be necessarily interested in that, and without diluting the content, so it doesn't mean anything. But it's all experimental. I want to see what happens, and also just as a human being who's been through things such as homelessness and an abusive marriage. And I want to share my own experiences with people so they don't make the same mistakes I made, and have someone telling them the things I wish someone would tell me at the time, so I wouldn't have to struggle that much. Tell me or not if YouTube can be a space for discussions on a different level than what we usually see. If you have even new ideas, guests you would recommend. I want to hear constructive things. So if you don't like Polish people, if you don't like Muslims, if you don't like doctors or what I have to say, don't bother commenting, because I'll be just trolling you, I guess. Or actually you can comment, because even Islamophobic comments, they feed the video back to the algorithm, so they boost my engagement rates. So maybe sometimes I think I should thank Islamophobes for how they propel my videos. I will return for a more conventional format in the next, let's say, 10 videos, and then we'll launch this new series. Let me know what you think, and let's see how it goes. Again, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and God willing, see you next time.